Hey, Max here with a full tutorial on Fxdreema, a platform where you use drag and drop to build profitable trading algorithms. I've been using this platform for many years and I've built hundreds of different systems. You can see all my projects here. I've built all types of strategies you can imagine, and a lot of videos on this channel are of course about these strategies. If you want to learn step by step how to do this yourself, watch this video. We're gonna do it from beginner to advanced, everything you need to know to be able to build your own strategies. If you're a trader, you can learn to automate. If you're already building algorithms yourself, I think that coding is a little bit too slow. I think this is a more efficient approach. So make sure you finish watching this one because it will really change the speed that you find profitable systems. So let's get started. So this is Fxdreema. Fxdreema.com is where you find it. You can just go towards the website, you go to Builder, and you can open a free account. You will find your way there. This particular video is about talking what can you do, what can you build, and how to build it, and how to test these systems, because it's very important to know that there are multiple ways to backtest a particular trading strategy or algorithm, and there are some details you really need to know. Otherwise you create a strategy, you test it, it looks good on paper, but in reality it is not that good. So therefore you need good quality data, and I will show you later in this video, after we're done with Fxdreema, how to do that as well. And you can just find everything in the show notes, of course. So first of all, Fxdreema, you can see here projects, a load project. Like I said, these are all my projects, like hundreds of them. And together with our community, we have probably thousands of systems now. And if you go to indicators, you can go there, profile, all these settings are pretty basic. You will figure that out. A big one is MQ4 and X4. What does that mean? Well, if you have an MQ4 file, you can open that in MetaTrader, the platform where we upload these creations, these strategies to test them and put them to the live markets. And in MetaTrader, MQ4 is the name for a file that you can open and really see the secrets within the strategy. So really the code, the trading plan, and all of that. If you just have the X4 file, that's also totally fine. You can use that file to run the algorithm, to backtest the algorithm, but you cannot really see the secrets regarding the trading plan and strategy on its own in code. Yeah, so those are the different file exports you have on this platform. Then the title, you can of course name it whatever you want. For now, this is a breakout EA. We're gonna talk about this later. For now, just simple steps, right? Show you the platform, how all of this works. Then you have events. So these are multiple canvases you can see here. I always build on tick, so just focus on tick. You see, you can hold your cursor as well on everything, and then it will explain what it is. Right here on tick is event that happens on every tick received. So more on that later, but that is where I build. I sometimes use on trade for more complex systems, but just focus on tick, you will be fine there. Then you have constants and variables. We're gonna talk about what those are and how to use them. And then you have a search bar if you look for certain blocks. So on the left here, this is your these are your building blocks. See it like that, and you can just drag and drop everything on the canvas, right? You click, you hold, and then you have a condition block. On this building canvas, so we are now on the on-tick canvas, you can imagine that you have building blocks here, building blocks here, building blocks here. It can become pretty complex very quickly, right? So let's quickly look at how this works and what the logic is behind it. So at the top, you have always a block. So a block here at the top, a block here at the top, and these are just decision trees, right? It is a yes or no system. And yes or no can also be seen as traffic lights when you're driving your car, right? You have green lights, then you go and the answer is yes, you're allowed to move to the next place. And with red lights, it's no, stay here, or start over. That's the logic behind these blocks. So if we zoom in, you can see every block has two outputs. You have to the left an output, and that is yes, that is green lights. I don't know why this is orange, why they did that, but this is green lights, right? The answer is yes, the condition is met, you go to the next one. So imagine a trading strategy. Let's say we are above a moving average. That is the condition you have in this block, for instance. Then if that is true, you go and then you check the next condition. So That's how the decision tree works. If the answer is no, then you can also connect that to another block, and then it moves and checks that condition, or you leave it open. And that means, okay, the answer was no, so we wait, we do nothing, later on we come back. And that coming back is the on tick. So every tick in the markets, every time price moves, right, you have a tick, and that tick will trigger that first block, and this block, and this block. So every tick, these blocks are triggered. So the first one at the top of your decision tree. I hope that makes sense. If you have questions, just feel free to comment below, right? This is my first tutorial on Fxdreema for the public without a proper course about it. If you want to learn all the details, by the way, we have a full course on trading, investing, but also on Fxdreema, and you can find that in the link below. But for now, this will be a free tutorial. Let's continue. Now you know where to find everything here. You know you built on the on tick. On tick means every tick, the first block is triggered, and we know that this is yes and this is no, or this is true, this is false. That's already a lot. So take your notes if you have to, but now we're gonna look at what type of building blocks are there, because you have many different ones. First of all, modify variables. That's important if you want to store something. And more on that later. I'm gonna explain everything in this video with good examples, so it brings it really home to you. Then you have condition blocks. I always use just the normal condition block and the formula blocks. Those two are pretty common that you use them. You can see them here and here. So the condition block, let's quickly open it up and see what's going on there. Let's move it a little bit so you can see. Let's zoom in. You have indicator moving average 5 is above indicator moving average 20. So if you go to the charts and you have like this is trading view, if you type in moving average and you have two of those. So you have the moving average 5, and then let's copy paste it that we have 2, and then you have the moving average 20. If you now go back to the condition block, what you can see, where's the condition block? Let's open it up again. What you can see here is the 5 needs to be above the 20. So on the charts, you can just see, okay, is the 5 above the 20? Yes, that is the case during all these periods, right? Here it is not, and here it is. So that's a condition you can automate, a very quick and easy one. So what's next? You can change whatever condition you want. You can use moving averages. This is all pre-programmed. So you can say moving average needs to be above something else. You can also go to candles, and then you can say candle needs to have a close above the previous candle. So how Fxdreema counts is 0 is current price. So a candle ID is of course a candlestick. So you have right here the current candlestick on pound yen. This white one that is still moving, it hasn't closed yet. This is the daily time frame, and you can see this candle is still moving because we're currently in that day. Well, how Fxdreema does the candle IDs is this is 0. So this candle is candle ID 0. This is candle ID 1, and this is 2, this is 3, and you can keep counting, right? So always count from right to left, and that is something you need to get used to. But this is how the program works, and that is how MetaTrader is built as well. So Fxdreema just follows that overall programming. So now we know candle ID 0 is here, and this is candle ID 1. So if I want to check if candle ID 1 was bullish, I need to check the close price and the open price of this candle ID 1. And if I do that, I can make a condition out of it. So let's quickly show you how that works. We have that condition block. We have candle, candle close, ID number 1, because we want the candle prior from today, so yesterday, or the last hour or the last 4 hours, depending on the time frame you use, right? You can do the same principle works on all time frames. So you can also do it on a 4 hour, and then the counting is exactly the same. Let's go back to daily. There we go. And let's say, okay, we have the 1 candle close needs to be above its open, so we compare the candle close of 1 with the candle open of candle ID 1, and then the close needs to be above the open. So price opened here, it closed here, that's a bullish candle, right? That's another condition. So that is how the condition block works. Play around with it, but the most important thing is that you understand what candle ID means, because that counting is very important if you want to build strategies, right? So let's delete that. We don't need it for now. Then the formula block, that is used when you want to, maybe you want to have the open price of today and you want to have the close price of today, and then you want to calculate something. So you want to say, take the open price minus the close price, I want that value. So that's when you use a formula block. Very straightforward, right? You can build whatever formula you want. It's a little bit custom, but a lot of things are also programmed in. So you can say, yeah, whatever you want. You can go to the candle close price of 1 plus, let's say, the candle close price of the day before. And then you need to put it in a variable. And a variable is pretty simple to understand, but you need the right example, right? And the biggest example I use is just like manual trading. So let's take a step back towards this overall example with this candle ID 1, right? Right now you can see it properly. We can see the close price of this candle is 191 and the open price is 190.626, right? Maybe you want to save those numbers, because as a human being we have eyes, but an algorithm doesn't have eyes, so you need to write things down. And writing things down, just like a human being is doing it, if you tell me save these numbers, what would I do? I would open a blank page. I will write down, okay, the close price is 191 and the open price is 190. That is what I do, right? And that is a variable. You store something, you write it down so you can use it later on. So you ask me, save those numbers. Later on, you come back to me and you ask, Max, what are the numbers? And then I take my paper and then I see it. And if I want to forget it, I just cross it off the paper. And that's when you delete a variable or you override it. You change the variable that the numbers are different. And that is what you need to know about variables and how they work. So whenever we talk about variables, it is just about storing a value. Regarding this formula, we have the close price of 1 and the close price of the candle before that, and we want to do minus, for instance. Yeah, so the close of yesterday minus the close before the day of yesterday. And then you want to store it in a variable. So you need to create that blank page. And this is maybe a little bit advanced, but let's call it blank page. And just keep everything the same. Don't think about double or the value, not important right now. And then update. And what we have right now is if we go to put the result into a variable, right click, blank page, that was the name we used, you don't have to call it blank page, and then update. What now happens is that variable, so every time, every tick, remember, this formula block triggers, and then you have the candle close of 1 is calculated minus the candle before that into this variable. So it's written down every tick. So every tick it's doing that. Of course, you don't want to do that every tick. Maybe you want to write it down once per day. Let's say, Max, write down the values into that variable on your blank page. Write that down every day at, let's say, 1 at night. Normally I'm asleep then, but let's do once a day. I want to calculate that formula. And what time? Well, at a certain hour, and like I said, at 1 during the night. So now every tick this once a day is triggered. But once a day means that it will only one time in the day, exactly at the number you put into it, so at 1 during the night, it will trigger this formula. So now it's not every tick anymore, even though we're building on tick, you've blocked it with once a day. So this triggers every tick, this once a day, because this is above it. And then you store this variable. So pretty advanced stuff, I know already, but I think this is very beneficial if you just use this whole video to watch parts back, really use this as a guide, right? Your guide for Fxdreema. Quickly see what we have covered. We have covered the condition block and the formula block. We covered variables, what is important with variables. And time filters. We already showed you once a day is a time filter. We have once per bar. That means once per candlestick. So right click, edit title, once per candlestick is also how they could have called it, right? That's not the case. It's called once per bar. But it's exactly the same. So every candlestick close, this the rest of this tree runs. What else is important? We have once per second. I just use once per bar most of the time, because if you click on it, you can see current time frame, but you can also just check the minute 1, the 5-minute chart, the 15-minute chart, the 1 hour, the 4 hour, 12 hour, whatever time frame you want, you can check that. And then this tree runs based on what you put in here. So if I change this to 1 hour, then once every 1 hour candlestick close, we're gonna modify our variable, calculate some things, etc. So that modify variable can be very interesting to also store something like that blank page. Let's say once per day I was calculating that variable of candle close 2 and 1 and that formula, right, that we did prior in this video. Well, maybe I want to modify that variable once in a time to a different value, and then you use modify variable. More on that later, not important. Let's quickly move through it, and then later I'll show you exactly how that works. Then check trades. So we have if trade order, if pending order. So let's assume you are building a strategy that trades a breakout. We're breaking out to the upside and I want to take a trade. Well, then I have a trade open, right? The algorithm took a trade. We have a trade running. Maybe I don't want to have another trade open if that happens again. Maybe I just want to have one trade open. There are multiple ways to build a system like that, but it can get pretty advanced very quickly. So what is important to know, the easy way is to say, I don't have a trade open, and then it will not take any more trades if you do not have a trade open, right? If you have a trade open, sorry. So that is true and false. Again, let's zoom in. What did I build here to really bring it home? I have a time filter, so I only want to check these conditions, everything below this decision tree during a specific period of time. So let's say the London session or the New York session or the Asian session, depending what you want to trade. Then I have a spread filter, not really important right now to teach you what it is, but it is very important to use in your live trading because you don't want to execute certain trades when you cannot get the right price from your broker, right? You need to check what the spreads are at the moment you want to execute your trade, and then if it is a good spread and not a very wide spread, that you get a very bad price instead of the one you want. As for traders, people know what spread means in the market, so then the spread filter makes sense. And then no trade. So I want to check all these conditions during a specific period of time. I want to have a low spread during the period I'm checking, and this goes instant, right? This is not like a human being taking it step by step. This just runs instantly every tick, so it's very, very fast. It just takes a millisecond, right? Then no trade, I don't have a trade open, that is true. Well, then I can look for new conditions. Well, condition 1, let's say we go back to that example, moving average above the other moving average. Okay, that is true. Then another condition, let's say we are above the previous day high. Okay, and then another condition that is important for you. We don't really have to dive into that right now. And then if all conditions are met, you click on buy now. And then you have a buy now block. So let's open a fresh one just to show you what it does. So you have buy now and buy pending order. So a buy pending order is when you place an order but you're not entering instantly, and this is a market execution order. So right now this triggers and you shoot in a buy order into the markets and you're filled probably straight away. So if you open a buy now block, what you can see is a lot of things. Money management, first of all, you have fixed volume. So that means I want to just execute one lot. If you're new to trading, just go to babypips.com and learn about all the simple terms of trading and learn that and come back to this video. But right here you see fixed volume is money management. What I always use is risk percentage of balance. So that means if you have $1,000 in your trading account and you say here, I want to risk 1%, it means that if your stop loss is hit, you only lose 1% of your account, and 1% of $1,000 is of course $10. Yeah. So that is how this works, risk percent based on stop loss. You need the stop loss always, right? So you have a stop loss set here and then it calculates in the back end what the right lot size is to execute your trade. Stop loss mode, fixed pips. You can keep it on fixed pips, but you can also do a percentage of price. So let's say you take 1% of the price value. That's what I really like to do, to play around with like percentage of price. That is, in my opinion, the best stop loss to take. But you can also do price fraction. And price fraction is if you want, for instance, to use an indicator like the average true range, a volatility based indicator, as a stop loss on the 1 hour time frame, for instance. So maybe I go very quick right now, but the price fraction is using the indicator as a stop loss in pips. So you have here the ATR period 14. If you don't know what the ATR is, just Google it. It's just a random indicator that measures volatility. And then you can say, I just want to use that value that indicator calculates on the 1 hour. So it's a smaller value than on the daily, for instance, because moves are bigger there, depending on what you use. But another fun thing you can do is price level, and that looks like price fraction, but the price level is really the output of, for instance, a moving average. So let's quickly go to trading view, and here you see the EMAs, right? This blue one, and this blue one you can see here on to the right. You can see it's currently floating at 191,481. That is the output of that particular price indicator, and this is a price value. So let's say I want to buy now here. I place my stop loss on the 5 moving average. It will be placed exactly on that 194 whatever I said, right? It will be exactly placed on this moving average. And that is the usage of having a stop loss price level. And that is what you can choose here as well. How to build that, let's quickly zoom in. You can go to indicator, moving average, where is it? There it is. And then we had the 5 moving average, right, on the daily time frame, and then the stop loss will always be placed there, if it is of course possible to place it there. And let's quickly go back to fixed pips, keep it there, and now we have a stop loss of 50 pips, also fine. Take profit can be fixed pips as well, but you can also do percentage from stop loss, and that's what I do, and that's a risk to reward. So if you go back to this example, if you have a buy now here, stop loss of 50 pips, and you have a stop loss of 50 and a target of 50 pips, you have a risk to reward of 1, right? 1 to 1. But if you want to have a risk to reward of 1 to 2, you have a 100 pips target, twice the size of the 50 pips stop loss. But if you don't want to build it that way, you can also just say to Fxdreema in the buy block, take my stop loss, multiply it, and that's my target. So for instance, you can do take my stop loss, multiply it by 300%, and then you have a 1 to 3 risk to reward. You don't need to know how many pips that is. So right here, percentage from stop loss, if I make it 300, it means I'll take 3 times the stop loss I've put in here. Yeah, so that can be whatever you can do fixed pips, but you can also have like whatever you want. Then you have expiration. I almost never use this, but you can say buy now and exit this particular trade in 4 hours. And then a trade is taken and 4 hours later the algorithm closes it. Normally I just use stops and targets and just let it play out, right? And maybe add management. So this is how the buy block works. The sell block is exactly the same. The buy pending order is just a buy limit or a buy stop in the markets. So quickly go back. If you want to place an order on this horizontal line here, it is currently above price, so it's always a buy stop order. The algorithm just checks, are we above current price or below it? And then if you use a buy pending block here, it will just be a buy stop order if it sees it's above current price. If you ask the system right now, place a buy pending order on this moving average, so down here it will be a buy limit. So if price comes back, you'll just trigger the buy limit. I know some things are pretty basic for some of you, but building here might be very new to you, so I want to cover everything and also make this video available for people that are also a little bit new to trading. By now, by pending order, we covered that. Then bucket of trades, I don't really use that a lot. Then you have a lot of loop for trades and orders. So by the way, you can also click on all the question marks and really see what is going on, see an overview, a tutorial, more or less what this block does, right? That works for everything, like a condition block. You can see, okay, active, just like everything, all the details. But for now, where do we use loop for trades and orders? In our management. So when we have right here, let's talk about the areas I've created here. This is where I calculate certain values for my trading plan. This is where I check certain conditions, still not really relevant, but this is your buy and sell tree. That's how I call it. How can you see it? Well, there's a buy block. So this is where trading really begins, right? And then right here, you have a for each trade. So instantly you can see, oh, something needs to happen if we have a trade for each trade and then we want to do things, right? So that's always when you talk about managing your current positions. And here a trade is executed, fine, that is just looking for executing trades. And here you have a different tree that's always looking every tick if there is a trade open, executed by, of course, this tree, and then it does something. So I will not really dive into the management of this particular strategy because this video otherwise will take hours. If I go into detail of every strategy on this channel, we have many strategies explained that you can build yourself as well. If trade, how does that work? Well, it's just a simple block that checks if you want to check buy, do I have a buy trade open right now? Or do I have a sell trade open right now? Or do I not care if it's a sell or a buy? If I have a trade open in general, I want to do for each trade, so for each buy and sell, or just each buy and each sell, you can just filter that out. And the rest of the inputs you don't really need. It's not relevant for now. You can just leave them open. Then I want to check how many pips are we away from our open price. So that's just a block in this list. You can check, maybe I'm 50 pips in profit. Cool. If I have a trade, for every trade, I want to check if I have 50 pips of profit right now in my floating order or my floating trade. Then I want to modify my stop loss once to a different level. So maybe you want to trail your stop loss to lock in some profits. That's how management works. And now we covered that as well. These are all the blocks. You can, of course, look around what each of these blocks mean. But I think the most important blocks are on my canvas here and the ones you will use the most. Trailing stop, maybe you want to just have a break-even point for each trade. You click on this block and you can see, okay, I want to on profit mode, fix values. So if I'm floating pips on profit, so let's say I'm floating 20 pips, I want to have my stop loss trail to break even. Very easy block if you want a quick fix instead of building and combining multiple blocks. Then trading actions, you can of course just say for each if I have a trade, for each trade I want to close all the profitable trades. So if you're one tick in profit, you instantly close it. If you like that, you can of course do that. That would look something like this. So if trade, for each trade, close profitable trades. And now the algorithm will just keep doing that. Next up, chart and objects. So if you want to plot something, draw an arrow, draw a button, whatever you want to do with drawing objects, like we visually do as well here on the charts. Like if you want to draw an object here on this high of this particular candle, then you can do that with the draw objects blocks. Then look for chart for each object. You can also, of course, if you draw an object, you also have to tell the algorithm to delete it later on. And then output and communication. So the only one I use for this one is comment ugly. And what comment ugly does is not really something regarding trading, but it helps you in MetaTrader. And I will show you what it does in MetaTrader later on. But Just if you use variables, like we had that blank page, remember, where we did write the values we want to store. If you want to see if that is working properly, you have comment ugly, and you can just make labels you can see in visual mode in MetaTrader. More on that later, but just important to know that right now, because I will later in this video show you where it is. So I can highest price and the variable, so what value that has. So it can be 0, it can be 1, just the highest price I calculate here, and the lowest price. I want to see exactly when I run my algorithm. Left in the corner, I want to see during running the system, what are these values? Are they good? Are they the values? And comment ugly is just a block that really helps you find mistakes you make, maybe in your building process regarding working with variables. So the last thing I want to do before exporting the code and diving into MetaTrader and show you everything regarding backtesting is talking about constants. And constants are, you can see, also inputs. And inputs are things you tell your strategy. So we talked about placing your stop loss at the moving average. So the buy now block, this is a different one, obviously. But if you have the buy now block, you have risk per balance, like we talked about. That is set on 1%, and this was set on the price level of the moving average, right? That's what we talked about. Let's do that quickly. We had the 5 moving average on the daily time frame. You can keep this on current, by the way, if you run the system on that particular time frame in MetaTrader. I'll show you that later on as well. To bring it home, but right now you see the daily, and now it will just, whatever time frame I use in MetaTrader, it will just find the daily 5 moving average. So how do constants work? Well, maybe I'm uploading this to MetaTrader and I think I want to backtest multiple things. We are building automated systems to be able to backtest a lot of different settings, right? And these settings can be inputs. So maybe I want to place my stop loss at the 5 moving average, but also maybe at the 20 and maybe the 30. I want to test everything. Tell me what is the best, and that's how we trade, right? Everything is based on data. So instead of keeping this on 5, you can make it an input, and then you can quickly change it, this value, in MetaTrader. You don't have to go back to Fxdreema, manually change this to 20, then export it, upload it to MetaTrader. You can better use constants to do that. How does it work? Well, go to constants. You see a lot of constants here. Of course, if you have a new project, it's empty. Add new and moving average stop. So this is a name. This is just a name, not really relevant how you call it. You can literally call it blank or blank page or whatever you want to do, right? But for now, moving average will do it. And normally it's set on 5. So the value is 5 and it is a double. So you have multiple different ways to different types of constants, not relevant for now. Double is just if it's a normal number, so you see these normal numbers are all doubles. This is like time, then it is a string, yeah, and then you have some extra ones if you want to maybe adjust time frames and all of that. If you have questions, comment below. Remember, for now, moving average is 5. Cool. So now when I right click here, you can see moving average 5. Right now we know that this input on default is 5, but later when we upload this to MetaTrader, you can adjust these inputs. So that 5 you can change in MetaTrader to 10. Same for risk. Maybe you want to risk, right here I already created this one, risk is 1. Maybe sometimes I want to backtest with risk percentage 1. And maybe sometimes I want to take a little bit more risk per trade or less. And then I can test that and adjust that right there. Target, same story. Maybe I want to have a 200 pips target. So you can see default is 200, but maybe I want to have the option to change that, right? So that is how constants work. It's just an input that you can quickly change in MetaTrader. So right now, last thing, you can build, if you go to new projects and start your own project, you can build in MetaTrader 4 and 5. What is better? As one that has been, as a person that has been building for a long time, I use both. But I recommend you guys to just choose one of the two and get your data properly set up and your software set up. And we're going to talk about that right now. But you can build in both. It doesn't really matter that much. But for me, for the more advanced ones, I use MetaTrader 4 for really detailed tests, like with good spreads, commissions, and playing around stress testing it when I'm very far in my building process. And MetaTrader 5 I use for the speed of running optimizations. And ops are just simple ways of testing multiple inputs, constants, in one go. So maybe I want to test my stop loss size on the moving average 5, 10, 15, 20, etc. Like a lot of inputs together, you run an optimization is what that is. And then you will get a report where it tells you literally what's the best stop loss placement. And then I use MetaTrader 5 because it's tech terms better to use it there. Let's go to MetaTrader. Export this. You can export on X4 and MQ4. Right now it doesn't really matter. Let's just do X4 and then it is downloaded. Now I copy it and I paste it in a folder in MetaTrader 4. So let's go there. So this is MetaTrader 4. What you can see right here is File, Open Data folder, go to MQL4, Experts. So an algorithm is called Expert Advisor. Don't ask me why, but that's how it is called. Then you see here all your algorithms. I have just here tutorial map and I already placed it right there. So I can delete this, but I already placed the X4 file there. If you do that, it's now uploaded to MetaTrader and you can just click on cross. If you don't have MetaTrader installed yet, just go Google MetaTrader 4 or 5, which one you want to use. I prefer 4 if you're new. Right now, I'll show you why, because then everyone has the same data. But then you go here, refresh, and then under Expert Advisors, you will see your systems. So tutorial, there it is. So you just drag it like that on your strategy tester tab. If you cannot see that, just click on view. Strategy tester should be there. And then let's quickly see what's going on here. You have your EA, you have your symbol, so that's pound yen. I'll show you very quickly how to get the right price data, because don't use the data your broker is providing. That's really bad data. Don't do that. You really need good price data with a lot of ticks and size. So you really need to watch that later on. But for now, pound yen, you can just decide whatever pair you want to trade. Then every tick, and then use the date. So I want to run a backtest of, let's say, somewhere in January 21 and then till end of that year. Whatever time period you want to use. We always do like long-term backtest, like 15 years, 10 years, 5 years. Then on the 1 hour time frame. So this is what is very important regarding that current in Fxdreema. Current means that if you run it on the 1 hour, everything that you have in Fxdreema based on the current blocks will run there. So let me quickly show you. If you, let's get myself back. If you have, let's say what's easy. If you have a buy now, well, let's open a new buy now very quickly. And then go to that stop loss, price level, moving average, indicator, moving average. And then you have this more settings on current. If I run this EA on the 1 hour time frame, like I was showing you in MetaTrader, this moving average on the 1 hour will be used. But if I change this to the daily, then the daily moving average will be used for the stop loss placement. Either way, whatever I do in MetaTrader, it will always be the daily moving average. So if I run it on the 1 hour time frame, in MetaTrader it will still find the daily. So it's very important to know. So we're back. We have here the 1 hour. Like I said, let's run it there because that's how I build it in Fxdreema. It has a lot of current blocks in that particular system. But also a lot of reasons why I run it here. Then you have tick data settings, more on that later, and then expert properties. Here are all the constants or inputs like we talked about. Value, 200, ATR stop loss, all the settings I use in this particular system. And yeah, let's just click on visual mode. It's already checked. And then just open this. And now you wait a little bit of time. Let's zoom in. Let's make it a candlestick chart, right click to make it a little bit more beautiful while we wait, black on white, and there you go. So the second thing I promised you was to explain comment ugly, right? That block. The highest price value and the lowest price values. And these variables that you write down literally are shown here. So they are updated whenever they need to be updated. So that's working properly. But that is just a check I have for myself, right? And yeah, now it's just trading already because I already created the strategy, right? So that it is trading and it is doing what it needs to be doing. And this is how visual mode looks like in MetaTrader. And you can of course click on skip to as well. And then it goes quicker. If you don't use visual mode, you cannot see what's going on, obviously, but it is way quicker regarding going through your test. So right now, what type of data do you need to have to run a proper backtest? Because this is the biggest mistake of new traders and a lot of not even new traders, but people that have been creating EAs for a long period of time realize pretty quickly that whatever they backtest doesn't work in the live markets because they don't really have good data that is based on the live markets. Broker data has weird wicks and a lot of stuff that is not really how it should be, right? So right now I'm going to show you what type of data do you need to have in your MetaTrader to be able to test all our strategies, but just in general have a higher probability of success because what you test, what you backtest is very likely to work also in a real live market environment if you take this process seriously. So right here, by the way, you have a graph, you can see the returns of a strategy. It's just getting through it, just backtesting all the years I told it. You can here see the buy and sell and the stop loss and the TP, all the orders, and just a general overview on how MetaTrader works. Let's talk about data. So if you have installed MetaTrader 4, you probably don't have tick data settings here or use tick data. Maybe it is there, maybe it is not there, but what you need is an external software. And that external software is the following. So this is the external software you can use. You can buy it, you can trial it, but I'm not affiliated with this software at all. It's just very easy to get tick data into your MetaTrader. So if you have installed MetaTrader, then just download Tick Data Suite, so this overall platform, and you can just Google Tick Data Suite and you can see it, but let's quickly show you the eareview.net is what the website is called. And then you can try it and you can download your data and then it will be instantly synced with your MetaTrader. I'll show you how that works right now. So yeah, like I said, get it if you are serious about this because you need data to test on. So now we're back. So if you have downloaded Tick Data Manager or Suite or whatever name they use nowadays, if you download it, you can see source. So always use just Dukascopy. That's a decent tick data. Good enough based on everything I've tested over the many years. It's good enough to work just with Dukascopy. And you can see euro, dollar, pound, dollar, all the currency pairs, right? You have some miners and a lot of stuff. You even have stock. So all the data you can see here. And if you are new, you don't have any downloadable days, right? You didn't download anything yet. So what you can do is click on operations, download. You can select what to download. So start date until today. That is what you can download. Click on start download and do that for every pair you want. So that takes you a couple minutes and then they will all be queued here. Make sure you have enough space on your laptop or your PC to store all this data. If you don't have that, just take a few of these. If you don't have all the pairs, it's also fine. You just backtest on one particular strategy on one pair, right? So just download what you need. If you have a lot of room on your PC, I would just recommend to download all the data. Maybe from 2010 until now, that's already enough, or maybe 2015 till now. Remember, the files are very big, so therefore it's important to look around, like how much do you need and how much do you want. Yeah, so if you have done that, just let it run, and then if it is finished, you restart your MetaTrader, and then you see here tick data settings and use tick data. So if you click on tick data settings, you can see basic source Dukascopy. It already spots I've downloaded 2003 until 2024. All the data, 480 million ticks are downloaded so many days on pound yen. That's totally fine. If I change this particular one to Swiss yen, open tick data settings, it spots I have 390 million ticks on Swiss yen, and then also 2003. So everything is just instantly synced. Then spread commissions, you can adjust your spread. So maybe Dukascopy has a very high spread. Maybe in live markets, you can just check your MetaTrader what your spread is more or less, and then adjust the spread multiplier. So lower your spread of your tick data in Dukascopy. If you have a higher spread than Dukascopy has in its tick data, which you can just spot here, right? It's pretty crazy. So you can change that. Slippage, I always test with slippage on, and always unfavorable slippage is larger than favorable. So I always have negative slippage tested on my strategies. A little bit of detail and techie stuff here, but it's important to know if you are more advanced with testing, you will get this and you know how important it is. Maybe on this video later on, I'll make another one on that specifically. And then commission, if you have commission per trade, so maybe every trade you execute, you pay $3, then you put that in and you can backtest with the right commissions. So this is how that works. This is tick data, and you always should test on tick data because results are always different if you use tick data compared to just broker data that you milk from your trading account. I'm not even logged in on one, I just use tick data. So this is the whole setup. Now you know how to use Fxdreema. You have a good understanding to really move on with it, to build your strategies on it. Follow and subscribe to this channel because we will make more tutorials on it, and we have a lot of good strategies you can use from us. But also now you know how to backtest properly on what data. And if you have any questions, comment below. I'm here to help you out. And I know this was a long session, but it is truly worth it to learn this skill because automation is the future. You can backtest quicker, you have results quicker, you're more consistent because your algorithm is taking the trades. You don't have emotions or things blocking you for good trading performance. You can just let the algorithm execute your trading plan, which is tested, which is proven, and then just go on with your day and maybe develop more strategies if you like it, or really take a passive approach, right, towards the markets and just consistently trade the way you want to trade. So with that said, hope you like it, subscribe, and I see you in the next one.